productive have teams really been this offseason? Because I can certainly say that some are faring a lot better than others.
The question right now is a negative one, unfortunately. We're going to go with which team had the worst offseason?
I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Bears, too.
We now have a pretty good idea of what all 32 rosters will look like come week 1. So, here are the rankings for how all 32 NFL teams performed this offseason, going from worst to first. Number 32, Chicago Bears. Seriously, what are the Bears doing to help Justin Fields' development? Hiring a defensive-minded head coach in Matt Eberflus was an interesting call, to say the very least. The O-line is still in shambles, and the best weapon they picked up for Fields was Byron Pringle?
That's it. That's your ace in the hole.
Trading Khalil Mack to the Bolts was a smart long-term move, but in the short term, that D just got a whole lot worse. Number 31, New England Patriots. Bill Belichick lost a lot more than he gained this offseason. Gone are J.C. Jackson, Shaq Mason, Gunnar Olszewski, and Kyle Van Noy. Losing offensive guru Josh McDaniels ain't gonna help matters either. The Patriots really reached for Cole Strange and Tyquan Thornton with their first 2 picks. Their AFC competitors all made big moves to get significantly better. Meanwhile, it seems like the Patriots only got worse. Number 30, Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys can blame their rough offseason on the salary cap. Jerry Jones had to trade Amari Cooper. The boys couldn't afford to retain Connor Williams and La'el Collins on the offensive line. The Randy Gregory debacle is what really hurts, though. Dallas couldn't close the deal with a standout pass rusher and failed to find a suitable replacement. Number 29, Atlanta Falcons. First, they disrespected franchise icon Matt Ryan by openly pushing hard to land Deshaun Watson. And they failed to land Watson, but still had to trade Ryan away for a measly 3rd-round pick to the Indianapolis Colts. Not to mention, the Falcons will be without Calvin Ridley for the entire 2022 season due to his suspension for gambling on games. At least Atlanta's terrible offseason has them in contention for the first overall pick in next year's draft. Number 28, Tennessee Titans. The Titans made the head-scratching decision to deal away superstar A.J. Brown to the Philadelphia Eagles. What are the odds that rookie Treylon Burks can replace Brown's production in 2022? Tennessee also lost Roger Saffold in free agency, and GM John Robinson didn't do much to address the leaky interior offensive line or the secondary. At least they were able to steal Malik Willis in the 3rd round of the draft, I guess. Number 27, Minnesota Vikings. Even with a new GM and head coach in place, Minnesota remains reluctant to undergo a full-scale rebuild. They handed Kirk Cousins another contract extension and stayed mostly quiet in free agency, unofficially admitting that they're happy to push for 9 wins and a wildcard berth, but nothing more. Rookies Lewis Cine and Andrew Booth Jr. should help fix a secondary that has been an issue for a while now. But the Vikings really didn't do much of anything to improve their front 7 or the offensive line. Number 26, Carolina Panthers. Getting DJ Moore's extension out of the way was a nice piece of work by GM Scott Fitterer for starters. The Panthers also did the right thing by taking future star offensive tackle Ike Mekwonu with a 6th overall pick instead of reaching for a QB. Yes, Carolina eventually grabbed Matt Corral with a number 94 pick, but why not make a trade for a proven veteran like Jimmy Garoppolo or Baker Mayfield? Are they actually expecting Sam Darnold to lead this offense once the season starts? Number 25. Washington Commanders. Sure, the Commanders finally addressed their quarterback position, but they did so by trading for one of the most unreliable, inconsistent quarterbacks in the league right now in Carson Wentz. On the bright side, Jahan Dotson was a great pick in round 1 to give Terry McLaurin a valuable sidekick. But let's be serious, Washington's 2022 offseason will be judged entirely by how Wentz plays, plain and simple. Number 24, Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals did nothing to replace superstar pass rusher Chandler Jones. GM Steve Keim is usually proactive in free agency, but he didn't add anyone to help that weak cornerback depth chart either. We suppose bringing back AJ Green on a 1-year deal was a positive. Marquise Brown could be a home run pickup with Kyler Murray now feeding him the ball, though the cost of a 1st-round pick was pretty hefty. Number 23, Seattle Seahawks. Trading Russell Wilson was what we call a necessary evil. It wasn't the right move from an emotional standpoint, but from a long-term perspective, it had to be done. Seattle got valuable draft capital from Denver, and if they can land a franchise QB in the 2023 or 2024 draft, all will be forgiven. Number 22, San Francisco 49ers. You'd like to see a little more from a team that was a few plays away from a second Super Bowl appearance in 3 years. Jimmy Garoppolo hasn't been traded, which has prevented the Niners from making any big signings due to cap constraints. They didn't find a replacement for standout guard Laken Tomlinson, and while they still have Deebo Samuel on their roster, he clearly does not want to be there. Add it all up, and it was not an ideal offseason for San Fran. Number 21, Houston Texans. Finally getting rid of Deshaun Watson was a big win for starters. Snagging Derek Stingley Jr. and Kenyon Green in round 1 of the draft was also very nice. But we would have really liked to see a little more activity in free agency, considering how much cap space they had to work with. Number 20, Jacksonville Jaguars. We really would have rather seen the Jaguars take the more polished Aiden Hutchinson first overall instead of Trayvon Walker. But what's done is done. The Jaguars really overpaid for the likes of Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, and Brandon Scherf in free agency. But at the end of the day, they're a much better team now than they were last year. That is for sure. Number 19, Cleveland Browns. The Browns mortgaged everything for Deshaun Watson, who will likely be suspended for the start of the season, if not all of it. The Browns are taking a ton of risks here, and we certainly don't endorse the idea of a $230 million fully guaranteed deal for a guy who has never taken a snap for you. Number 18, New York Giants. The G-Men had no choice but to run a fresh slate. Again. We love the hiring of Brian Dable to help Daniel Jones, and new GM Joe Shane is the polar opposite of Dave Gettleman. That's a very good thing, by the way. Good on Shane for cutting some of Gettleman's pricey contracts and making great use of his first-round picks. Evan Neal and Kayvon Thibodeau should be instant game changers. Number 17, Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers played their cards right in Kevin Colbert's final offseason as the GM. They signed Mitch Trubisky in free agency 1 month before drafting Kenny Pickett. The O-line was upgraded with the pickups of Mason Cole and James Daniels. Miles Jack adds more punch to one of the league's best front sevens. How can you not like what the Steelers did in year 1 of the post-Ben Roethlisberger era? Number 16, Green Bay Packers. You can hate on the Devontae Adams trade all you want, but the Packers are always in contention as long as they have Aaron Rodgers in the fold. And the reigning MVP just so happened to sign a contract extension, which means he's staying in Wisconsin for the long haul. Great work by Brian Gutekunst to retain Rasul Douglas and Devondre Campbell. With his first 2 picks, Gutekunst beefed up the D by taking Quay Walker and Devontae Wyatt. And second-round pick Christian Watson could totally slot in as the new number 1 wideout. Number 15, Detroit Lions. The Lions' rebuild is certainly on the right path with Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell in charge. Hutchinson was a no-brainer at number 2 overall, and trading up for Alabama wideout Jamison Williams was well worth it in our books. Throw in the DJ Chark acquisition, and Jared Goff is suddenly loaded with weapons. Number 14, Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs had no choice but to trade Tyreek Hill after the two sides failed to reach an agreement on an extension. That's fine, because KC used that cap space and draft picks to bring in Juju Smith-Schuster, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and rookie Sky Moore. The D got much better with the first-round selections of Trent McDuffie and George Karlaftis. Mahomes has a deeper set of weapons, and their defense has 2 new potential game wreckers. That is a heck of an offseason for Brett Veach, all right. Number 13, Los Angeles Rams. The Rams lost several key pieces from their Super Bowl 56 championship team. But when you extend the NFL's best defensive player, your franchise QB, and your Super Bowl MVP wide receiver, you can call it a win. Not to mention, Les Snead also made 2 big splashes in free agency, landing linebacker Bobby Wagner and wideout Allen Robinson. Number 12. Las Vegas Raiders. All the Raiders did was land the game's best receiver and a top-tier pass rusher in Chandler Jones. And new GM Dave Ziegler was able to secure Derek Carr on a 3-year extension. Just beautiful work here in Sin City, no doubt about it. Number 11, Cincinnati Bengals. We kept saying that Cincy needs to bring in new starters on the O-line. Well, Alex Kappa, Ted Karras, and La'el Collins will certainly do the trick. On top of that, this stingy defense got even better with the draft selection of safety Daxton Hill. The reigning AFC champs may be even better in 2022. And that should terrify the entire league. Number 10, New York Jets. Take a bow, Joe Douglas. Zach Wilson should go off in year 2, with Laken Tomlinson up front and Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, and CJ Uzomah joining an offense that had lots of talent to begin with. Robert Saleh is going to love first-round picks Ahmad Sauce Gardner and Jermaine Johnson II on this defense. Number 9, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady's comeback decision is enough to propel Tampa into the top 10, but that wasn't it. They managed to retain Leonard Fournette, Ryan Jensen, Carlton Davis, and superstar wideout Chris Godwin on affordable deals. GM Jason Light robbed Bill Belichick by acquiring Shaq Mason for a 5th-round pick, and veteran receiver Russell Gage was a great find in free agency. Number 8, Indianapolis Colts. The Colts got Washington to overpay to take Carson Wentz off their hands, and then they replaced Wentz with the superior Matt Ryan, who only cost them a 3rd-round pick. The Colts also added all-pro corner Stephon Gilmore and sack specialist Yannick Ngakoue to an already elite defense. Rookie Alex Pierce could possibly emerge as the new number 1 wideout in Indy too. Number 7, New Orleans Saints. GM Mickey Loomis brought back Jameis Winston and wasted little time making win-now moves for a group that won 9 games last season. Newcomers Jarvis Landry and Chris Olave, along with a returning Michael Thomas, could round out the league's best receiving core. Tyrann Mathieu is a fine replacement for Marcus Williams, giving New Orleans another premier ball hawker in the secondary. Number 6, Miami Dolphins. Need some weapons for Tua? How about Tyreek Hill, Cedric Wilson Jr., Chase Edmonds, and Raheem Mostert? Need some pass protection too? Meet Terran Armstead and Connor Williams. No more excuses for Tagovailoa. Number 5, Buffalo Bills. Adding future Hall of Famer Von Miller and lockdown corner Kyer Elam to the league's best defense from 2021 was huge. So was signing guard Roger Saffold and pass catchers O.J. Howard and Jamison Crowder to sweeten up your offense. The odds-on favorites to win the Super Bowl had another excellent offseason. Giddy up, Bills Mafia. Number 4, Baltimore Ravens. What do you do when you had the NFL's worst pass defense a year ago? Well, you sign a superstar safety in Marcus Williams, then wait for unicorn safety Kyle Hamilton to fall in your lap at the draft. To think the Ravens already had Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters leading that secondary. And rookie Tyler Linderbaum will instantly upgrade the offensive line. So yeah, expect a big bounce back here from Baltimore thanks to all these moves. Number 3, Los Angeles Chargers. GM Tom Telesco crushed this offseason. First, he added future Hall of Fame pass rusher Khalil Mack and all-pro corner J.C. Jackson in free agency to fix up his defense. Then he proceeded to crush the draft by taking Zion Johnson and Isaiah Spiller. It's moves like these that should help Justin Herbert make his first postseason appearance in 2022. Number 2, Philadelphia Eagles. Say hello to the new NFC heavyweights. The Eagles did it better than any other team in the conference this offseason. GM Howie Roseman acquired A.J. Brown at the draft, giving Jalen Hurts perhaps the best receiving duo in the NFL right now. An already stout defense got even tougher with the pickup of Hassan Reddick, James Bradbury, and rookie Jordan Davis. And to think that this was already a playoff team in 2021. Number 1, Denver Broncos. Why are the Broncos number 1? Well, all they did was add a future Hall of Fame quarterback, who is still in his prime by the way, to end their 6-year search for Peyton Manning's replacement. GM George Payton swung for the fences and hit a grand slam by acquiring Russell Wilson from Seattle. With a top 5 defense and a deep set of skill position players, Denver is officially a bona fide Super Bowl contender once more. But which NFL team do you think is having the best offseason? Join us in the comments section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.